maar dat had ik niet gedaan.
Oh, dat heb ik vergeten ook. Ja.
Ja.
Hij wordt nu opgenomen.
Ja. Nee, dus wordt dit tenminste opgedaan.
Oh.
Ja.
Heb je gezien dat Baudet in 3 dagen en is opgestapt en weer terug is?
Ja, inderdaad. Echt.
Wat een vent.
Ik moet zeggen, ik had niet beter verwacht per se, maar ik was wel even niet geschrokken, meer like pleasantly surprised. Maar toen ik zijn statement had geluisterd, dan hoorde je eigenlijk al dat eigenlijk nog niet zo heel erg veel...
Nee, voorstelde.
Ja, nee, hij zei alleen dat hij niet meer lijsttrekker zou zijn en niet meer partijleider per se, maar nu doet hij ook weer mee aan de partijleiderverkiezingen. Ja, dus
Drama.
hij gaat, ja...
Ja, ik moest toch
was te mooi om waar te zijn om gewoon te denken dat hij gewoon weg is.
Sowieso. Ik moest toch denken aan dat... toen we het over die les over politiek hadden, dat jij vertelde dat Geert Wilders dus een soort van eenmanspartij is. Dat hij het enige lid is of zo.
Ja.
Toen dacht ik, dat heeft Thierry eigenlijk niet goed gedaan. Dat had hij ook moeten doen, zoals Wilders.
Ja, inderdaad.
Als we dit gezeik...
Ja, er is ook geen
raar dat je dat doet,
jongere
maar...
PVV-partij, bijvoorbeeld.
Nee,
dat zou wat zijn. Had ik hem niet
maar
over nagedacht.
SP had ook problemen met een jongere partij, hè?
Ja, omdat ze...
Een beetje extreem links weer uit de hoek kwamen.
Ja, dus ze vinden het niet leuk dat er communisten zijn in die partij. Dat vind ik zelf jammer dat de SP zo er veto over doet. Maar...
Ja.
Het is inderdaad een beetje, I guess, zelfde problemen uit de andere hoek. Alleen is de SP, die doet er dan iets aan, I guess. En en Thierry die stapt op. Maar, of niet eigenlijk.
Ja.
Alsof dat het probleem oplost.
Ja, heel apart. Hey, ik ga heel veel drinken halen.
Jo. All right, story 15. Hope most of you are back. If not, I will still start because we do still have some ground to cover. First, let's talk quickly about the syntax of how to use these separable verbs. The inseparable verbs are pretty straightforward. Just put them at the same spot you would normally put a verb. Inseparable ones, bit different. In principle, I already mentioned this. They stay together normally, and then as an infinitive or as a past participle. And otherwise, they get split up, and the prefix then goes to the miscellaneous thing, and the verb part goes wherever the verb part needs to go. So here, I will absorb all sorts of knowledge during this class. Absorb is opnemen, separable verb. Ik zal tijdens deze les allemaal kennis opnemen. So here it's just an infinitive. You just put it here. Here it's separated, but it's not separated as you would normally think. So it is still an infinitive here, but it's separated here by kunnen, because kunnen always takes precedence in the verb order, as we talked about. And here, it's only together in the infinitive because the miscellaneous thing is next to the infinitive part. But here it can't be. So in separate, I have been able to absorb all sorts of knowledge during the class. Ik heb tijdens die les allemaal kennis op kunnen nemen. If you were to turn it around, if you could get away maybe with saying ik heb tijdens die les allemaal kennis kunnen opnemen. You might get by with that, but if we want to be proper, then we say hebben allemaal kennis op kunnen nemen. You can't say opnemen kunnen. That's just really bad. Yes, so I hope that clears a bit up. I will discuss this as well. So maybe we have seen this a couple of times already, but I thought it would be worth it to go through it explicitly for once. That is the te or om te clause in Dutch. And since I think Anouk, Eva, sorry, I think you know this better than me at this point. So could you elaborate what om te does?
1 second. Yeah, okay, got it. Let me see. So om te plus infinitive is a construction that corresponds to in order to plus do or another verb in English. The interesting thing about this, it's not actually a main sentence in itself, like a main clause or a subclause, but it is dependent. The way you say it is om plus the time or like other time, time, manner, space, I don't know, those things you mentioned. That come next, then you have te, and then you have the infinitive. So for example, is om in België te studeren. It means in order to be able to study in Belgium. This sentence is not a main clause. It actually, how do I say this? It, yeah, you have to give a reason for it, for example. So it would be, ik spaar geld om in België te studeren. So I am saving money in order to be able to study in Belgium. So it's not a main clause, but it depends on a main clause, basically.
And it doesn't have a finite verb in it. It acts exactly kind of like a subclause without a finite verb. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, and the link with the separable verbs is that in the case you have a separable verb, they will be split by the word t, so te. So it will split the verb. Let me see. They're actually.
Because the te goes after the other prefix. So say I want to say the sentence is not om in België te studeren, but not in to studeren. But another verb. In Dutch we have afstuderen, means to finish studying or to be done studying. In that case, it would be om in België af te studeren.
Yeah.
So the te always is like the last prefix.
Yeah, exactly. It splits the verb.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just going over this quite quick because of the time. But there are actually 3 situations in which you use this kind of om te plus infinitief. The first is to give a purpose or a reason. So I think the example I have here is: ik heb een auto om naar werk te rijden. So you say I have a car in order to be able to drive to work. That's why you use the om te for. Then the second one is when there's a negative consequence. So an example would be: het is te vroeg om op te staan. It means it is too early to be up yet. So it's negative, so then you can use it too. And the third thing is that it gives more information about the substantive. So here it says: de winter is het perfecte seizoen om in Nederland te schaatsen. Which translates to the winter is the perfect season to go ice skating in the Netherlands. So here it just gives more information. And then lastly, it is also used with fixed expressions, like zin hebben, which translates to feel like doing some things, or tijd hebben, to have time. So you would say: ik heb zin om in het park te wandelen. I feel like taking a walk in the park. So these are actually the things where you use it for. Anything to add, Thomas?
Yeah, I think that's it. Very brief, but it's basically in the situations you would use in order to, or just to
be able to, yeah.
Something in English. You use om te. The weird thing is that om, this forms its own kind of subclause, and om is the first part of that subclause. So, or at least it goes in front of time, manner, place. So it acts not really as a prefix, or like a prefix or miscellaneous stuff thing, but it acts er, hier, daar, I guess. That also goes in front of all those things. So it's weird, and that's why I want to mention it a bit briefly. Now you know. Now you know immediately how to use it, but now you've seen it once.
Yeah.
All right. Let's quickly, I won't even ask you, I will just go quickly through these things. The questions were to translate them in these sentences into English. So here, we were united again. United is verenigen, so we know it's inseparable. Oh, sorry. I will take control of this.
Yeah.
So it would become: wij waren weer verenigd, or waren opnieuw verenigd. That would be good. We were united again. The old church is being demolished. So demolished, slopen. It's just a normal verb. You just have to use worden here. That's just a throwback, I guess. De oude kerk wordt gesloopt. So the old church is being demolished. The car salesman misled the potential buyers. So misleiden. Here it's inseparable. Misleiden means to deceive, or mislead. And you get: de uitverkoper misleidde de mogelijke verkopers. So here we also see verkoper means seller and koper means buyer. 4. The sailor has untied the knot. Untied is losmaken. So los is not one of those common inseparable prefixes, and it's not one of the 3 main examples of a weird prefix that's inseparable. So it's separable. And we get: de zeeman heeft de knoop losgemaakt. So here we see how you do that with a past participle. 5. The flight attendant smiled at the boy. So glimlach is one of those weird inseparable verbs, inseparable compound verbs. And then you get the steward or stewardess. Steward is male flight attendant. Stewardess is female flight attendant. Yeah, annoying with the separation. It's there. Glimlachte naar de jongen. So this is just the past participle. You know how to make that. 6. The old lady has chain smoked her whole life. In Dutch, kettingrook is one of those weird ones as well. So you get, de oude vrouw heeft haar hele leven gekettingrookt. Sounds weird. I would be prone to say kettinggerookt, but that would be incorrect because it's inseparable. Because you wouldn't say the old lady chain smokes. The translation would not be de oude vrouw rookt ketting. That doesn't make sense. So she doesn't smoke a literal chain, but she chain smokes. And then penultimately, I have paid the bill, betalen. Here, this is one of those inseparable compound verbs that don't really have a meaning on its own. So, alen of talen is not really a word, but betalen just means to pay. Ik heb de rekening betaald. It's not ik heb de rekening gebetaald, because again, that sounds weird. Finally, apologies for going through it so quickly, but time. The terrorist was being arrested. De terrorist wordt gearresteerd. Note that we don't need this gearresteerd looks a bit weird. But we don't need to put an umlaut or something on the a, because e and a never make one sound in Dutch, so we're never confused. So ge-a, it's fine. All right, that was that. We'll take questions at the end because we need to move. Eva, could you do progressive forms?
I can try, but
I could also go through it if you.
Maybe if you want to, because I didn't do the slides for this one, I think.
All right, let's. I will go through this quickly. Oh, there's an exercise here. Matters not. Yes. So here, we'll maybe do that in a bit. The progressive form in Dutch. This is what for us is the present continuous. There's not really. Well, yeah, it does basically the same thing, but the construction is a bit different. How you make it is you use aan het, and then the infinitive, and that's the present continuous. So here, wij zijn aan het fietsen. Oh, importantly, you also use a conjugation of to be. Wij zijn aan het fietsen. In English, that would be we are cycling. So we have this construction with a gerund, and then you get we are cycling. That means you're doing it right now. Well, in English, the present continuous is used more liberally than in Dutch. We use the present simple often in cases where the English use the present continuous. But if we want to really be explicit about something is happening at the moment and it's continually happening, we use the present continuous. Dus wij zijn aan het fietsen, we are cycling. So it's onderwerp, subject, conjugation of zijn, leidend voorwerp, if that's applicable, direct object, if it's applicable. Aan het, it takes the place of the prefix in the miscellaneous, and then you get the infinitive. Cool. So subject to be object, aan het, and then infinitive. Voila. Is usually to make explicit that someone is doing something at this moment. So ze liegen means they lie or they're lying, and liegen is they're lying right now. Ze liegen is more like a statement maybe about what they usually do, or just kind of an observation of something that they did at some point during the current time frame. En ze zijn aan het liegen is very clear. Here, ik schilder mijn huis wit. I paint my house white. Or I'm painting my house white. In Dutch, that could be... it's just maybe a statement about what you're going to do, could be, or what you might be doing. If you want to be really explicit, like you're on the phone and someone asks you to come over, and you say, ja, nee, kan niet. Ik ben mijn huis wit aan het schilderen. I'm painting my house white. Then you would use the present continuous. Yeah, so that's basically it. It's pretty straightforward. The use case is also pretty straightforward. It's just a bit weird. But just know that if you see this aan het, it means something is continually happening. I could badly translate this into English to make it more intuitive sense, but I don't think that helps. No. So ik ben aan het schilderen. Then there's the other way of doing present continuous. This is a much more common colloquial way, and this is using some auxiliary verbs that we've seen before in callbacks to prepositions. And they are some combinations of staan, liggen, zitten, and lopen, or maybe some other verbs that look like that. So stand, to lie down, to sit, or to walk. And they also indicate present continuous. And they are almost exclusively used just in colloquial language. You wouldn't see this, well, like in a newspaper, or, well, like maybe some newspapers, but like fancy newspaper, the NRC, or I don't know, somewhere someone is writing something down. You wouldn't really use this. Of course, a novel you could, but you know the difference between formal and informal language. You don't have to explain it. Hij zat de hele dag te werken. It means he was working all day. You could also say hij was de hele dag aan het werken. That means the same thing. Here, the only difference is the difference in extra meaning, or the extra meaning is from the zat, which means sat. He was sitting and working all day. This loose way of conveying some of the same information. You could also, for instance, say hij stond de hele dag te werken. And that also means that he was working all day, but it also implies that he was kind of standing while doing it. Well, hij zat de hele dag te werken implies that he was sitting, but it doesn't like strictly entail that he was sitting. But that is approximately meaning. If you would say hij lag de hele dag te werken, then it implies he was lying down. And if you say hij liep de hele dag te werken, means he was doing that while walking or doing some other activity or just being busy. Those are kind of the differences in meaning. Here, waarom staan jullie te klappen? Why are you standing and applauding? Why are you clapping? Why are you applauding? If you would say, waarom zijn jullie aan het klappen? That would mean the same thing. Why are you applauding? That would be the straightforward use of the present continuous in Dutch. Here, it's A, more informal, and B, adds the extra kind of semantics of implying that they are standing while doing it. If you would say, waarom zitten jullie te klappen? That would imply that they were kind of sitting down, I guess. Waarom lopen jullie te klappen means that they are kind of doing it while doing another activity. It's like walking. And waarom liggen jullie te klappen means they are kind of lying down. But again, these are more kind of these are not very specific descriptors of like, oh yeah, you're sitting, you're standing, or you're lying. It's more in that general sense that you're doing it. So lying down is anything in between actually lying down and sitting. Sitting is everything kind of in between sitting and standing is kind of standing. This is a hard thing to explain, and it's more useful that you first know what this is and that you can recognize it when people say it, and then over time you kind of pick out the nuances. I could give you a very detailed list. Well, I literally couldn't give it to you literally right now, but I could look up a very detailed list of when to use every single one of these things, but that wouldn't teach you what it is, right? That's not how learning works. So that's why we just tell you, and hopefully through osmosis, you'll get the nuances. Two more important things to note. There are often a lot of the different possibilities of doing this. So hij liep te schelden and hij zat te schelden. Liep or lopen is often used to indicate that it's happening for a longer time, or again, doing some other activity. For instance, walking, but it rarely means actually walking. So here, hij liep te schelden means he was going about and cursing people, or cursing, not like a witch, but like using bad words, which I guess kind of is cursing, you know. And hij zat te schelden kind of implies that he was staying in one place while doing it, sitting maybe. Often this is used in kind of negative connotations. when you want people to stop doing it, or like questioning why they're doing it, and you're hoping, and you're kind of, you don't want them to do it. So loop niet zo te vloeken. Don't go around cursing or calling people. Yeah, this is cursing. The other one is like calling people names, I guess. Here in the previous example, waarom staan jullie te klappen? Is kind of has the connotation that the question asker thinks it's kind of annoying or something, or it's kind of like wondering like, why are you doing this? If you wanted to be very neutral about it, you would ask, waarom zijn jullie aan het klappen? It's like, oh, why are you doing that? And if you say, oh ja, waarom staan jullie te klappen? Of waarom lopen jullie te klappen? It's like, oh yeah, why are you doing that? That's weird. Here also, hij zat de hele dag te werken. Also implies like, oh yeah, he was just working, and either that's indicative that he's kind of a lame person who just works all day, or that he was just really busy, and that sucks. But that's kind of subtle. It's not very explicit all the time, as are most things. Finally, some more examples. De was hangt te drogen. So this is a very literal example where you use hangen, to hang. So the laundry was hanging and drying, obviously. De hond zit te hijgen. So the dog is panting, or is sitting and panting. You could also say de hond ligt te hijgen, if the dog's lying down. Or the dog staat te hijgen. De hond staat te hijgen when he's standing up. Or de hond loopt te hijgen when he's kind of walking around and panting. Mijn vader ligt te lezen. My dad is reading. And he's lying down. En mijn stieftante staat af te wassen. My my step-aunt is doing the dishes. Like, these are examples where it doesn't really have a negative connotation, right? So it's just, my dad's reading, my step-aunt is doing the dishes, laundry is drying. We're not really annoyed by those things. If you're asking a question with these things, like, waarom staat je stieftante af te wassen? That's closer to an annoyance, I guess. Or, waarom zit de hond zo te hijgen? Why is your dog panting so much? Then it implies you're kind of either concerned or annoyed about the thing. But in just a statement case, there is not really a negative connotation to be found. All right, so that was a lot of talky, but we made it. At this point, I do want to ask, do you have any questions about something we covered this lesson? I can totally understand if you're not in the mood for questions, but if you do, yes, Elisa, great.
Yeah, I have a question. Like, in the compound verbs, like, how do you recognize with prefix to pat? You need to learn the verb by heart.
How do you know which prefix to?
Yeah, to use.
To use. No. So maybe this is a good thing I should have mentioned. What you usually do is not getting the verb and then creating the compound verb. You have the compound verb already, and these the things I mentioned about buffer, und, and etc. were more to recognize what that word might mean, rather than kind of guidelines for how to construct these compound verbs. Because often these compound verbs, it doesn't work if you just pick a random verb and then try every prefix on it. They're not words per se. They are to recognize, not to... Yeah, it's just kind of guidelines for what they do, but not how to make them. If you want to make them, people will understand what you mean if you use them in this way. But it might not be an actual word.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Great question. Anyone else?
I think I have a question. It's on page 31 in the booklet, and under the at the bottom of this page, there's a sentence. Sta niet zo te schreeuwen.
Yes.
Is there any specific reason why so is inside that sentence?
Oh, yeah.
Or just
I guess
the way you
another
speak?
translation of this word here, instead of stop yelling, is
Niet schreeuwen.
don't be yelling so much. And be is
okay.
a bit questionable here. But that's a more accurate translation. It's like the zo here just means so. Is that
So much.
so much something?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Anyone else? No? Okay, fantastic. Yes. Then we are at the end of this lesson. Hope you are now officially prepared for the world, knowing everything there is approximately everything there is to know about Dutch verbs. There's probably something we missed, but these are like almost all the things you can know about them. Whether you were able to apply them all consistently, that's a different thing. But that's not per se what we're testing here. We would love to, but as this already took way too much time. So to ameliorate that and to quiz you in a certain way, we have the final lesson. So les 20, die is over 2 weken, in 2 weeks. And in the final lesson, we don't have a normal class. Instead, we have the final assignment, which will be for you to give a presentation of approximately 5 minutes. Feel free to do more, but that's kind of the minimum. It's not super strict, of course. Like if you're 3:30, I guess that's fine, but try to make it approximately 5 minutes. Ideally, we'll do this in pairs. And next week, I will kind of assign people who have not found someone. So please, if you know someone you want to do a presentation with, look them up. Or if you want to do it alone, also mention that next week, because then I will not pair you up. But all the other people I will pair you up. You can also go in groups of 3. So Adeone and Unique, you're very free to go in groups of 3. And then what should it be about? That's both nice and maybe not nice. It's super free. It can be about anything. That is nice because it can be about anything. You can try to be creative, make something fun. If you do something fun, talk about something you like, you're of course way more likely to learn stuff and look stuff up on how to do it, rather than if I just tell you, oh yeah, please give a talk about this and this, or I don't know, the socio-political situation in Azerbaijan or something. Maybe you really care about that. I would love to hear about it. But I assume most of you don't, so I won't force you to assign something. This, of course, is a lot of freedom, and there's a lot of things to talk about, literally everything. So if you can't think of anything, please let me know. I'll try to help you, or Eva, of course. Just let us know in the chat, or in private chat, or in the main general chat, and we'll help you find a nice topic. Some examples, you could do a dialogue exercise that we might or may not have done. You could fake like a job interview, a doctor's appointment, or whatever. Maybe kind of boring. For some inspiration of what people have done in previous years, they have like memorable ones are like fake interviews with a pop star, poems, a parody of my teaching style, a monologue about why pandas are the worst animal, a plea to vote in the European general election, just general random chit chat, an analysis of someone's favorite metal song, etc., etc., etc. There's a lot of different things people have done. It's always very fun to listen to. I would encourage you to just pick something that you like talking about and can talk about for a long time, and just shorten it, because probably your Dutch vocabulary will at some point run out. If not, that would be even better. Of course, it has to be in Dutch. I assume that goes without saying. You can use slides if you want. You don't have to. Some people have, some people haven't. Feel free to if you want. I guess those are all the constraints on the exercise. Oh, yeah, and you won't get a grade. Don't worry. You'll just maybe get varying levels of enthusiasm, but I'll try to be enthusiastic for every one of you, because I'm sure you'll do great. But that is in 2 weeks, so not next week. Next week we'll just have a normal lesson. We'll talk about. We have basically gone over all the grammar, so next week will be colloquial language, basically. How do you talk like a Dutch person? And so we'll go over various colloquialisms, slang, well, a bit of slang, and pronunciation. So you can at least do your best accent. And the topic is going on a date. So we'll do maybe some reading and watch a video. And if we have time, which we won't, we'll prepare for presentation. And yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, I see someone put something in chat. Maybe it's. Do we need to choose a person or simulate dialogue? You can if you know someone and you want to do it together. But otherwise, I will match people, or we will match people up next week that want to be matched up. But feel free to do it on your own. And do you simulate dialogue? Yeah, that's also fine. You can also present something together. Really, any combination of things you want to do. Yeah, okay, hope that's clear. If not, ask next week or somewhere during the week. But that will be it for this week. We made it. Okay. Tot volgende week. Ja, no, have a nice week.
Dankjewel.
Thank you, bye.
Tot volgende week.
Doei doei.
Dankjewel, doei.
Doei.
Tot volgende week. Doei.
Dankjewel.
Doei, dankjewel.
Doei. Altijd zo leuk als ze allemaal tot volgende week zeggen.
Ja, heel cute. Nou, oké, ging goed.
Ja, hele hoop behandeld. Dat is
veel
misschien iets
gedaan.
voor volgend semester deze les iets minder lang. Maar...
Ja. Ja, nou ja, dat zien we dan wel even.
Ja.
Oké, nou dan zie ik jou volgende week weer.
Ja, tot volgende week. Jo.
Oké, doei doei.